The next console in the Xbox space has been fully approved by Microsoft, and Avowed reviews are coming out. They look pretty good so far. There is some difference in some of the reviews from YouTubers that I trust, from content creators that I trust, from I love it, it's one of my favorite games ever, to it didn't really meet my expectations. So it's going to be really interesting to see what user reviews are like. But we're going to go over that. Let's go over some of the Avowed reviews that are out there, both the good and the bad. Personally, based on what I'm seeing, I think it's looking pretty good, and I'm very excited to jump in and try it out. You can get it for early access right now, so for those of you who are really waiting to jump into it or looking forward to jump into it, you may want to do it. It sounds like it may be worth it, that it may be something that you enjoy, despite some of the mediocre reviews. Overwhelmingly, it does seem pretty positive. It seems consistent in the reviews that I'm seeing. There does seem to be a difference between PC and Xbox version. Xbox version is scoring higher. Makes sense. It's going to be optimized for the console. There's going to be some technical difficulties on the PC. That's just the nature of it. So let's go over it all. Let's talk about the successor of the Xbox console. What do we want to see in it? What is it going to look like? It's been fully approved, so we know we're getting a console. No question about that. Before we jump into it, though, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We drop videos like this all the time right here. I got links to a bunch of stuff, Discord, newsletter, etc. We do have a podcast as well. But subscribe to us, rate, review, share us with your friends, and let's jump into it. Should we start with Avowed reviews? No, let's start with this. Let's start with the lead. And that is that the Series X and S successor has been fully approved by Microsoft. This is over at purexbox.com. Roughly a year ago, Xbox President Sarah Bond suggested that Microsoft was building an all-powerful next-gen console, and it's now reported that the project has been fully greenlit and approved by the company in recent times. That's huge. That's very exciting. I wonder if this includes a handheld version or if this is just the console version. Like, is it one package and two different options, or do they have to prove them individually? I would imagine this is just the console. That's coming from Windows Central's reporter, Jez Corden, who dropped a little nugget of information in a recent article on the future of Xbox first-party releases. Corden mentions that Xbox next console hardware, quote, has now moved past its early pitch stages, unquote, and has been, quote, fully approved and costed by Microsoft. Here's what he said. I've recently been told that Xbox next-gen console hardware is now moved past its early pitch stages and has been fully approved and costed all the way up the chain. Corden goes on to say that he doubts Xbox will reveal its hardware strategy anytime soon, which perhaps answers our recent talking point question about exactly when Microsoft will reveal the next-gen console. The majority of users said 2026, so maybe next year is the one for properly talking about Xbox's next-gen console. In terms of what we do know about the system at this stage, well, we've thrown that all into a big Xbox side. Anyways, there's also a handheld in the work that we know about too. Do we not get any hint of this until 2026? That is probably the biggest thing that changes here. Pure Xbox seems to think it's not. I think at the end of 2025, that's when we start hearing about it, because it sets you up for everything going forward. But maybe they get another year, and some of that might be dependent on numbers and how game sales go, right? Does announcing a next-gen console this year hurt Game Pass subscriptions or game sales? And it might, honestly, if people are holding back and waiting. I would say at this point, as an Xbox fan, and some of you call me a fanboy. Yes, that's right. I know, shocking. I would say at this point, though, that the Series X and S is a wash. It really is. I think that their hardware sales are going down. Xbox is clearly focused on Game Pass. So I don't think announcing it earlier, or let me say it another way. I don't think waiting to announce it till next year benefits you as far as sales are concerned. I think your sales are your sales are your sales regardless. Now, we do have GTA 6 that is coming, and GTA 6, even Rockstar has said, hey, we're going to push consoles. Consoles are not out, and it's strictly next gen. That's right. GTA 6 is strictly next gen. That will push consoles for sure. So under that, does announcing a next gen console hurt? I don't think Xbox cares about the console sales for this generation, though. Again, I think it's a wash. I think their strategy is here. I do think announcing it with future hype does give you hype for Game Pass, right? Subscribe to Game Pass now, play it on this awesome next-gen console as it comes up. So we'll see. Regardless, I did write down some questions on the console space. What features or improvements are you most excited to see? So number one, and this isn't really an upgrade. This is strictly feature. Memory, hard drive space. You got to come with more. It's got to ship with more. I do not like the nickel and diming and I would be willing to pay more at up front. You got to come with multiple terabytes of your high-speed hard drive. I don't want to have to pay separately and wait and have to manage my games in my library. I think that's dumb. I don't think it makes any sense. I need more storage. The games are such that what usually works or traditionally works for games just no longer works as far as size for a hard drive for a console. So that's number one for me. I think we're going to see speed. I think a must for next-gen consoles is the standard has to be 60 frames. On everything. No more 30 frames, no more. It's got to be console. Every game runs at 60 frames. It's going to be very interesting to see if they're able to pull that off, how they're able to pull that off. I think that's where PC wins. PC, you get games and options that run at 60 frames that you just don't get on console, even today in 2025. Now, there's been big leaps and adjustments there and improvements there, yes, but I think you need to lean into that, and I think they will. I think AI is probably going to help a lot with that. But I think that's the big thing. The new standard minimum on consoles, 60 frames per second, and then I need a bigger hard drive, guys. It has to be standard. It has to be the machine of machines. Give it to me to game on. Everything, just make it. Ship with a keyboard and mouse for that matter, for all I care. A couch one. Just make it the ultimate gaming experience. That's why I buy a console. That's what I want. I want it to be the ultimate gaming console. I don't want to be nickel and dime. I don't want to have to upgrade my memory. I want it to ship standard with enough for me to manage the games that I play, period. And that means basically optimize it. Basically, it means optimize your hard drive for Call of Duty. If you can fit 10 Call of Duties on your console, you're set. You're set for life. That's it. Hell, if you can fit 2 Call of Duties on your hard drive console, you are set for life. Let's move over to Avowed. Now, I would love to know what you guys think, though. Let me know in the comments below. What features are a must for you? Do you think I'm right on the 60 frames? How about, I got to be right. You got to agree with me on the hard drive space. There's no way you disagree with me on the hard drive space. Also, would you like to see it ship with a mouse and keyboard? I would. I would love to see, especially if we're going to this age where Game Pass for PC and Game Pass and PC games, they all merge and they all intertwine. I want a couch keyboard and mouse experience. I do. I would play Civilization that way. Civilization 7, shout out to you. You're gonna shout out here. Let me know in the comments below, though. Let's go to, this is Metacritic. It's generally favorable at an 80. I think OpenCritic has it at an 83, I want to say, so slightly higher over at OpenCritic. Now, keep in mind, this is not the general public yet. We're not going to get that till next week. But so far, so good. There are some independent creators who I trust, who are very much into Obsidian, who are a little more critical of it and didn't meet expectations. So I think expectations going into this are going to matter a lot on Avowed. Overall, though, the gameplay I'm seeing looks beautiful, looks fun, looks like a world to get lost in. But let's go over this. So let's look at some of the higher ones. So this is VG247. How do you get higher than 100? That's what Avowed is. Strong storytelling. Here's what they say. Strong storytelling, great combat, lovely visuals, and utterly charming. It's not going to light everyone's hair on fire, but that's fine, because I know for a certain subset of people, refined people of taste, if you ask me, Avowed will enjoy cult classic status. It doesn't necessarily push the envelope, but nor does it need to. It's exactly what it needs to be. That's kind of what I'm seeing from people who really like the game. Let's actually scroll down here and see. The problem with Metacritic is you have a bunch of it's both good and bad. You have a bunch of reviewers that probably shouldn't be. Let's go to True Achievements. I trust them. Here's what True Achievements has to say, trueachievements.com. The result of all this is that I'm pretty much obsessed with Avowed. After overinflated maps, exploration without reward, and other frustrations encountered in the last years, Avowed feels like a dream to play. It fully embraces the fantasy elements for a wonderfully old school RPG, and I can't wait to keep playing. Can I say this is a similar review, or similar, I would say basically the same thing about Kingdom Come Deliverance. Yes, they're open worlds, and yes, you can go and explore, and I know Avowed's a little bit different than that, but let me use Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's about exploration, but it's not this overwhelming There's so much to do on the map. It's exploration for the sake of enjoyment of exploration. Skyrim did that really well. Kingdom Come Deliverance does that really well. It feels like we're getting away from players just want tons of crap on the map. And like, no, that's overwhelming, dude. When I open up your map, here's looking at you, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. When I open up your map and it's freaking packed with crap to do, I'm like, I'm done. I don't have time. I don't have time to do this. I'm out. And most of it's worthless fetch quests. I'm sorry, I'm out. I love that this is here. After overinflated maps, exploration without reward, and frustrations, Avowed seems like a dream to play. In other words, they've addressed that. It feels like our new age of RPGs, or at least this current batch that we're getting, is kind of paring things back, getting back to basics a little bit, and stripping that down when it comes to open world stuff. So let's go to IGN real quick, because IGN, I think, gave it a 7, which, can I say 7? There's a meme online that 7 is like a cop-out game. Here we go. Tech Radar Gaming and Twinfinite. Let's see what they have to say. Avowed is an excellent first-person fantasy RPG that features slick combat feel and Moorish exploration. Its setting of the living lands is rich in atmosphere and has an ethereal, that's the word I'm looking for, has an ethereal quality that made me want to uncover every nook and cranny. Obsidian's writing is as sharp as ever, and the cast party members is both charming and highly memorable. Then why is it only an 8? Like, I don't see any reason for it to be an 8 there. Twinfinite says, despite these flaws, so this is like the end closing paragraph, Avowed offers a fantastic RPG incursion into living lands with an intriguing world to explore. So I think the flaws they're talking about here are probably technical flaws, mostly on the PC version. This is an Xbox Series X review, so maybe not. A gripping narrative that'll keep you hooked, and sumptuously satisfying combat against a varied cast of enemies. With a few bugs to address and a requirement to grind out crafting materials for upgrades, it's by no means perfect, but Avowed offers a further iteration on the tried and tested RPG formula loved by so many and will no doubt be played for years to come. Love that Windows Central. Says Avowed takes us back to the world of Eora from Pillars of Eternity, and the Living Lands is the most eccentric, colorful, and wild adventure yet. Obsidian Entertainment has done a wonderful job capturing the magic of RPGs like Skyrim that makes exploring every device, every crevice fun, and immersing yourself in this world is stupendously easy. You can still find the limits of this more focused RPG throw, and performance isn't flawless even on Xbox Series X. There you go. Let's go to some of the crappy reviews here. Let me scroll up. I think I scrolled too far into the abyss. Let's find one. The Gamer. Here we go. The Gamer gives it a 60 and says, Avowed is a valiant attempt at fantasy you can play your way, but while it delivers well enough with combat, the narrative just isn't there. Too ambitious in what it wants to do. It falls way short. It's a very mediocre version of the masterpiece it tries to be, but it's also just a solid version of just another video game. The story goes nowhere and it all ends the same way, but maybe the journey is just about worth it. That does actually accurately represent. So for instance, Mr. Matty Plays on YouTube has kind of a similar, he's let down by the game and has a very similar conclusion here, that it's a solid game, but it's Obsidian and it's not what we've come to expect from Obsidian. So it's not doing anything novel or out there. Hence that 60. That feels pretty accurate to what the critics are saying. IGN says 70, which we've already covered this. I think that's a cop-out. Here's what they say. With awesome world building, and okay, let me rephrase that before someone jumps down my throat. I don't think it's a cop-out. I just think they give a lot of games a 70 because it's the middle of the road. It's both sides are bad. I don't want to have the debate or discussion. That's how it feels. Only because there's so many. It may be a 7. Let's see what they say, though. With awesome world building and stellar character writing, Avowed reminds me why I fell in love with Obsidian's RPGs in the first place. However, the bigger picture is that it plays it quite safe. Again, similar to what Mr. Matty Plays is saying, similar to what the Gamer said here. With a by the numbers fantasy adventure that's more familiar than evolutionary, and there's barely any enemy variation to keep its sword and sorcery battles interesting for long. Even if it doesn't swing for the fences or leave a memorable mark on the genre, though, it's still perfectly competent with all the tried and true stuff I expect, including chaotic combat, leveling systems, and loot progression that lets you build the kind of character you want to play, and meaningful decisions that can have a massive impact on the world. Plus, the whole thing's surprisingly technically stable compared to its reliably unreliable peers. I enjoyed my time parkouring my way through Eora and think you will too. Just don't expect Avowed to show you anything you haven't seen before. Again, very similar to The Gamer, very similar to like a Mr. Matty Plays, who's all about these kind of games. That's why I keep referencing him. And his review really shocked me. So there you go. You can make up your own decision. Ultimately, it's on Game Pass, so everybody can try it. I will be checking it out. I have it downloaded. I will not be getting the early access version of the game, though. Simply because I'm in Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, Kingdom Come Deliverance is, in my opinion, a masterpiece. So that's where, seeing what I'm seeing here, I think that people who maybe aren't into RPGs as much and they haven't played one in a while and they jump into this, it does everything they want and they're loving it. Players who are deep into RPGs and games like this and really like Obsidian, for instance, are a little more disappointed and think it's solid, but it's not what we were expecting. So I'll leave it there for you guys to decide and make up your own minds. Again, it's on Game Pass. It's the beauty of Game Pass. So you can make up your own minds. You can go check it out. I will say I love the color palettes. I love the gameplay videos that I'm seeing dropped. I love the clips of different things that I'm seeing dropped, fighting specifically with magic. It just looks beautiful. So they nailed the color palette there. Will be interesting to jump in next week, though, when it drops for everybody and see what the general critic score. So let's make a prediction, shall we? If we come back up here to Metacritic. So this is reviewers right now. Generally favorable. Do we think that when these are critics reviews, that when user reviews drop, do we think that the user review is higher than a critic review? Yes or no? I'm going to say yes. I bet you the user review is higher than an 80. I would willing to say it's at least an 86. That user review. Now, if it's worse, then that's a whole other set of questions that we're going to have to ask ourselves. But we'll come back. We'll take a look at this and we'll talk about it probably on a live stream and go through and see what was the user review ended up being. Well, obviously I'll play it for myself and we'll be able to talk it then. But would love to know what you think. Have you had a chance to jump into it yet? Have you played early access? Let me know in the comments below. What do you rate it, by the way? Again, let me know. That's going to do us for today's video. Thank you very much for tuning in, hanging out. Love hanging out with you guys. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.